Good morning.
Good morning. Today is February 16th,
16th.
2025. And we're talking about today this is my favorite topic because tomorrow is Random Acts of Kindness Day. And I love this practice that it's all human beings have always done, but it's a day to focus on just trying to do and find as many random acts of kindness as you can.
Now, how random is it if it's got a particular day?
Well, it was started back in 1995 by a group called Random Acts of Kindness. No, let's see. Yes, the Random Acts of Kindness Foundation. And so, when we first heard about it, I think we were in California, and we heard of people doing things like when they went through toll booths, they'd throw in an extra quarter or whatever it was for the person behind them to pay their way, because it was always so fun just even imagining their expression when they're told, no, the person in front of you paid for your toll. And people do that going through McDonald's or Burger King or things like that, and pay for somebody's meal. So the interesting thing is I think it does more for the person who does the giving than it does for
Right.
the recipient, because you get such a charge out
Yeah.
of knowing you've surprised somebody by doing a kindness. Um, the we thought of several examples to share that we've done recently.
But the most amazing thing to me is that it follows Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So tomorrow is the day. You can't throw a quarter in the tolls anymore around here. Everything is electronic, so
Some
you
past, yeah.
can't do that. But there are always opportunities. I went to the dollar store to buy some things, including a Valentine's card for Bob, because we both find it objectionable that the cards in the grocery stores are $7 to $9. It's like, what? When did that happen? So we find very reasonable cards at dollar store, and I was in there buying some Valentine's things. And as I was checking out, the checker next to me said to another worker, I can't ring this up. They don't know if they have enough money. And it was a mother and a teenage daughter, and they had a card. So they obviously had a gift card or something. And they weren't sure exactly how much was on it and what they had bought. So I said, don't worry about it. Just let me know what it is. And they end up getting another checker, and they did have enough. And so that was nice because they weren't embarrassed. But and the checker outer said to me, "That was nice of you." And I thought, I'm really disappointed. I was, I think they were Hispanic, and I like to do nice things for Hispanic people who often are not treated very nicely in our country. And I was just so disappointed that I didn't get to do that. So I thought it was ironic. So when we do some unexpected kindness for others, it has a ripple effect. It ripples out, and then they enjoy doing that for someone
Yeah.
else, and then they enjoy doing it. And so, just like they it's a saying. Um, I can I do it on TV? The well, the word is I'll just say this word. The crap rolls downhill. And
Yeah.
that also is true when someone is mean to someone
It's
else.
caca.
The caca, thank you. I couldn't think of caca. But when someone is mean to someone, uh, it passes down too. Usually, it's a power structure. So, for example, if the husband, well, it used to be husband wife power structure, but this is the story. The husband yells at the wife swats the kid goes out and kicks the dog bites the cat, you know, and it rolls downhill because you
So
have
you
to.
so you know my family.
So that also has a ripple effect.
Yeah.
But it's so nice to initiate a kindness.
It's interesting. I think being dyslexic has its disadvantages because I was in the line and I was trying to do the same thing. I said, "Do you mind if I put this on your bill?" And, and the person looked at me with great disdain.
Amazing.
That's
It
not a
did
gift.
like
Yeah,
that.
right. Well, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the when we talk about the ripple effect, what's happening to us is that we're changing our own consciousness, and that consciousness changes everything, even when we don't know it. We're changing the consciousness of our moment-to-moment experience. What we're doing is we're programming the unconscious mind to look for opportunities to do good. Well, until we program our consciousness to look for things we can do that are good or helpful or supportive, we may very well be doing what the brain normally does, which is there a problem I need to solve? Is there something wrong here? And the brain is often, it's, what do you want to call it? Default position is look for problems and solve them. And when we have a problem solving brain, there's nothing wrong with that, except that there's no problems to solve, we could give our brain a better assignment or another assignment. So when we're looking for opportunities to do good, that problem solving mechanism is so much more supportive of our brain. But as you were saying also, what that does is it sets up a chain reaction. An energy in that. So what I want to suggest to you is if you see something good, say something. If you see something that is positive, affirm it. Either if you can't say it out loud, affirm it conscious to yourself or say it out loud. We were at a gathering yesterday and we met several different people I'd never met before. And one of the persons there, I'd never met him before, but I just had this incredible sense of his heart being just an incredibly warm and caring heart. And so,
Normally, you wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't say that, and particularly to a man, it's something
Gee, you got a big heart.
I would say, you look pretty rugged to me. You know, Do you walk like John Wayne? So, no, what I told him, and I think
Very touched.
he was appreciative of it. And I was grateful that I'd said it, although I hesitated at first thinking, ooh, careful how positive you are. Don't say something that you can't explain. We're wired into that, having to run defense against even being positive. And if we can break that down or we can break through that, uh, that really helps. It reminds me of Leo Biscaglia.
Hmm.
But Leo Biscaglia, who is
Dr. Love.
Dr. Love, he met somebody on the campus and she said, I don't know you. And she walked away. The next day, he saw her again and he introduced himself and he said, we met yesterday.
Yeah, he was a college professor who had a student who committed suicide. And he felt so bad. Like if I had only known, if I could have just said something to let that person know that they're valuable and wanted and but he didn't know. And so he decided from then on to just love everybody out loud. And he did that. He would get on a plane and start a love fest and things like that. Bob is very good. I know many of you that are listening are very good at this because you're spiritual people. This is your value to value other people. And Bob is very good about it. He recently did this unrequested, but he noticed that the Haitian cooks where he works are just sort of the low end of the totem pole as far as um, valuable employees. I'm getting a call from my granddaughter in Argentina. Sorry, I have to turn that off.
Actually, what happened was one of the cooks came to me and she had a picture that she had taken of a birthday party just for the Haitian people. And she asked me if it was something I could print. And she was planning on me charging her for the print. So I printed it for her and I printed five for the five people that were in the picture. And I gave it to her. And she said, how much does it cost? And I said, this one's on me. And it's amazing how that changed things. I mean, she was already certainly very positive towards me because I'm always positive towards her. But it went from Mr. Bob to Bob.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Yeah, I know they loved it. Did they put the picture up?
No. They each took it home and
Oh,
they're
they
gonna frame
did.
it.
Oh, I
It was
see.
a birthday party.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Well, I have a quote from The Book of Joy by
Hmm.
Nicholas Christakis. And I believe he's the husband of Byron Katie, if you know Byron Katie, who does what she calls the work.
Is it true?
And well, I know he wrote a book called The Book of Joy, so I think this is he. But he says, you're going to regret it if you wake up someday and you never, oops, that's wrong quote, sorry, wrong quote.
You might regret it, but
The ripple effect can extend out to 2 or 3 degrees of separation. In other words, experiments with large numbers of people show that you are kind, if you're kind and compassionate, to your friends' friends, and even your friends' friends are more likely to be kind and compassionate. So that's that ripple effect that I talked about earlier. Uh, and it does work. It does work that way. So I want you to think about things that you can do to show a surprise act of kindness tomorrow and all the time, because it's just a wonderful thing to do generally, not always. Sometimes people,
I saw
no matter what you do, don't appreciate it.
a video of a leopard, and leopards are not known to be friendly towards people. And this leopard had gotten caught in barbed wire and had barbed wire around his neck, and it had his baby. She had her baby with her, and so someone actually was able to go up to her, cut the barbed wire off, bandage her, and she allowed it. And so what's really interesting is when somebody doesn't suspect your intentions to be destructive or negative, how much trusting there can be. And if we can have interspecies trust and kindness, I think we could actually probably do a better job of species consciousness, love and kindness.
That reminds me of the bird that you rescued when you were a child.
Yeah, I rescued a red-tailed hawk that had been shot. Kids shot it with a pellet gun. And so it was on the ground. I took it home and took it to the barn. We had a small barn at the time. We were living in the
How
country.
how did it react to you when you picked it up?
It was scared, and
Yeah.
I had a jacket that I took off and put the jacket around it so it
Uh-huh.
couldn't bite or claw. I took it home, put it in the barn. We had a small barn, and I was able to wrap it up and take the pellets out. What's interesting is she didn't object to my taking the pellets out, and I kept her for about 2 months and fed her mice and things that I could catch with a mouse trap because we had lots of mice in the barn. And so when she left, when she got better, I let her go, and she nested over the house. And every morning when I would go out, she would call. So,
That's so
what
cool.
was interesting is at some level she decided that I wasn't going to hurt her, and that she allowed that. And I've seen this again and again and again. When creatures become vulnerable, their typical response is to fight to protect until they get our attention. The most interesting one was a crocodile in Indonesia that a man found that had been shot, and he took it home. Big crocodile, as big as he was, took it home, took the bullet out, nursed it back to health. Every night, the crocodile would come back and sleep with him, and all during the day, it would hunt and chew up whatever it could get, but it never hurt him. The interesting thing about this, isn't this kind of an aside, is the crocodile has a brain that's very small, but it has a really big heart. And we know that the heart has intelligence too. And so I think they made a heart connection, and the intelligence of the heart said, "Don't bite this guy."
Yeah, it is fascinating to me when I see videos of humans trying to help injured animals.
Yeah.
How you- often they're scared at first, but when they settle down, they allow it. They allow themselves to be helped, and it's such a beautiful thing to see,
Yeah.
and the bond afterwards
To see a
is
wolf
beautiful.
stop somebody and try to get them to follow the wolf to where their baby wolf is caught, and then stand by while that
The
person,
human helps.
the human, helps the baby wolf, that the wolf would know that this is somebody that maybe he could trust or he could count on. That's kind of incredible. And I think it's so valuable to think about, again, how animals can do this with each other. And we certainly are equipped for that kind of activity. We're equipped to be able to help each other in so many more ways. And maybe one of the things we can do is just sit next to somebody in the airplane and affirm them without saying a word, to affirm what a joy it is to have this human being alive and well. And we can practice that. And then that opens up a field of energy, sometimes a healing energy field for that person. Who knows who is sick because they're shut down? And sitting next to that person with kindness may very well open them up to the healing that they had been resisting.
As I'm thinking about our audience, I think of so many who automatically do these acts of
Yeah.
kindness. I know Sandra Marchman, who's a practitioner of a practitioner of healing within our organization, does beautiful things. She's got like a McDonald's ministry, and she often buys, the breakfast for someone behind her or whatnot, and then ends up talking to them. And she rents property out, and she's often helping them, and she's always teaching our teaching, which I still call religious science. And we are centers for spiritual living, but we teach religious science. And so she's always teaching, and I see her do kindnesses all the time for people. I think of Carol Grant, who is with us and who moved a year or so ago to a new location and missed all of her old friends at the previous location. And so what she's doing is meeting these new friends and meeting them on their level. In other words, she's quite a metaphysician, but she doesn't need to talk metaphysics with them. She finds out what they're interested in, and she says, and I'm learning from them. So she's meeting new friends, I'm sure through acts of kindness. And I could go on and on. I know Sina and her friends in Iowa are always helping each other out. And it's a beautiful thing to see. And it's a beautiful thing to practice.
I work in a mental health center during the day, 5 days a week, and I work with people who are often in crisis. And recently I was working with a client who, uh, very bright, very, very capable, just in so many ways, an extraordinary human being who was going through a great deal of struggle. And what I saw in her was just this incredible heart, this incredible beauty. And I didn't say anything about it, but what was interesting is she got it.
Oh, how
Yeah,
nice
and you can connect at a heart level without saying a word. And in fact, it probably
that's true
wouldn't have been appropriate to
to
say it,
say. Yeah, that's
but
true.
but we can
Sometimes it's not.
communicate. You are a beautiful human being. And just try that out. Find somebody that you don't even know and just sit there and think you're a beautiful human being and watch what happens.
Yeah, yesterday we were at Linda Mills' facility where she teaches yoga, and where we're going to do next Sunday's talk in the
We're
clubhouse
going to do it on Zoom
in
also.
Boynton Beach. Yeah, and we'll also be on Zoom. But a woman came up who Linda had met before, I guess last summer, and she couldn't remember Linda's name, and she couldn't remember anything.
She did
And
remember all the things that were wrong with her.
she remembered all the things that were wrong with her and told us, but and I noted, and I told Bob later, Linda was so kind to this woman, and I was sitting there thinking, what is she wasting her time talking to this woman? She obviously doesn't remember anything and won't remember this.
Yeah.
And and then I felt shamed because Linda was so kind with her and offering suggestions that might help her memory and things like that.
That
But
brings up a very interesting point, though. And I don't care how kind you are, there are moments when you're
when
not.
you're not.
Yeah. And when it takes somebody else I'm a very kind person. I'm kinder than you are. Probably when things are going your way or when you're feeling benevolent, but kindness isn't our constant. We can certainly make it more a constant. And as we do that, it bathes us in the ripples.
It does. As a matter of fact, I want to share a quote from Abraham Lincoln. A woman was
I love it as well.
really dressing him down for making kindly remarks to his enemies. And she said, "You should be destroying your enemies." And Lincoln replied, "Madam, do I not destroy my enemy when I make them my friend?" I thought that was really great. That was
Right.
really great.
I'm working on a book right now with a co-author. She does beautiful haiku, and I'm doing all the artwork. And we were reviewing the book, the latest version of it yesterday, and she identified 4 images which I happen to like a lot that she wasn't as fond of. And my first reaction was, huh. And my second reaction is, huh. So I went home and I started looking at the images and I just created four better images than the ones I was using. And they work far better. But my first response, of course, is, excuse me.
I'm
And
the
yeah,
artist too.
and why I say that is when your first response is, excuse me, then give yourself a chance to go back and visit that a second time rather than giving it fuel so that you can be frustrated or unhappy. Because what can happen after that is it was an invitation to do more, not an invitation to look at what's wrong with you. And very often we have, we call it a chip on your shoulder. We don't know that we do, but we're often anticipating that somebody will make us wrong rather than that we're right. We're right here. We're right now. We're okay. And when we affirm someone else, we're also saying, I don't have to be affirming me. I'm already okay. If I have enough to give and enough to share, then I'm worth something. And I borrow that again from our Science of Mind teaching. Uh, Interestingly, when Dr. Viktor Frankl was in a concentration camp, one of the things that he observed was the people that had food, not enough food, they were all starving, shared their food with people that were saying, I'm going to die, I don't have enough. The people that shared their food lived longer than the ones they shared it with. And so the idea that even when I have almost nothing, I have enough to spare and enough to share changes consciousness.
So, uh, it doesn't always work. Sometimes
It does always work. Actually, I think it
people,
does always work, but I think we don't always see how it works.
good point. I was just going to share. I don't think I have time though,
Go ahead.
so I won't.
We'll take as much time as we need. We can keep them here till
Not
one or
not
two.
everybody is in a perfect state of mental health.
Yeah.
And you have to take that into consideration and give them a little slack, because they're not going to act like a normal, happy person if they're having mental illness challenge. And so I and another board member here were trying to help a resident, and we were trying to help her with a financial error, and instead of being grateful that we were trying to help her, she seemed to be attacking us the whole time and yelling at us and demanding things. And I remember saying to her, "Look, we're here trying to help you." Well, she didn't feel like she was being helped. So we just have to understand that not everybody's going to appreciate what we're doing or trying to do, and give people some slack who have mental illness,
Or
because
any kind of, and the next time
or
you stub,
physical
the next
illness.
time you stub your toe,
Yeah.
and then somebody says, "So how are you doing?" And you say, "Excuse me, what do you think I'm doing? I'm in pain." And any kind of pain, mental pain, physical pain, mental health pain, illness pain, it really shortens our fuse. And if we could not evaluate people on the basis of the length of their fuse, but on the size of their hearts, we would probably be able to be a much better contributor to the quality of life for ourselves and for everyone. Well, I think
Absolutely.
I think we're at about a point now where we can. Something else that's important for us before you go to the share is that you may not know this, but we do this every Sunday. We've been doing it now for, I guess, for 30 years. We've been doing ministry, and the ministry that we have here has an intention to serve that very positive that message that you're worth it and that you're good. And I want you to know, those of you that are sending support to us financially, because we do need that in order to be able to thrive here. We have insurance we have to cover. We have video. It's amazing. We did our taxes, and I had no idea how expensive it was to do this. And it's a gift of love. Your gift of love to us also allows us to be able to expand our world and to make it work better for everyone. So now we can go to share.
Indeed. So this is our opportunity to invite you to share with us what's going on here.
Sure. Sure.
Share. Okay. Aha. So
Go ahead.
this is a first page of our website, cslpalmbeaches.org. And when you go there and you click on this ways to donate button up at the top, it will show you that. And many of you who are watching already have a regular giving plan set up, and we definitely appreciate that. But And we like to say this affirmation because we believe it's true. We believe in the law of circulation, that as you give, you do receive. And so when you give kindness, you receive more kindness. When you give of your financial good, you receive more financial good. That's the law of circulation. It's the way it works. So let's say this affirmation: my investment today is made with a full realization that God is the source of my supply and returns it to me enriched and multiplied. And so it is.
And we're going to end here.
Stop the recording.